So I got three great tips for you. I'm going to go backwards from 3, 2, 1. We'll count down. Tip number 3, counting backwards. This one is very common. The emotional mind game that happened is this. Quote, I can't see it. Who's ever said this before? You look in the mirror and you say, I can't see it. I don't see the difference. I know I've lost weight. I know I lost 100 pounds, 110 pounds, but for whatever reason, I can't see it. You also say, I can't see what they see, my friends see. I still feel fat. I still see the fat girl or the fat person. And intuitively, you say, I know I've lost weight, but when I look in the mirror, I still see the fat person. Does that make sense? Who's had this experience? I bet you almost every single one of y'all have had this experience. Let me break down this to you, why this is so common, okay? There are 2 types of patients, all right? Patients, 2 types, okay? All right, type number 1 is obese since young. Now, who's been overweight since you were a little kid? Like maybe your first diet was like when you were 10 years old. Maybe your mom took you to Weight Watchers when you were 12. Maybe you didn't make the cheering squad because you're overweight, or you were always the bottom girl on the pyramid, right? You've been obese since you were young. The second type of patient was obese when you're older, later in life. So a lot of times it's like pregnancy. Like maybe you were thin until you had a baby, right? Maybe you were thin until you had your hysterectomy. Maybe you're thin until your mom died, or you went through a divorce or a bad time. So you went through your 20s and 30s as a thin person, but maybe in your 30s you started putting on 5 pounds a year, 10 pounds a year, and before you knew it, by the time you were 45, you were now 100, 110 pounds overweight. Does that make sense? Now, think about it. Those are 2 very different patients. And the shit that pisses me off is this. As doctors, we treat y'all exactly the same. But you're not. You're not the same patient. You guys are very, very different patients, okay? So when someone has been obese ever since you were young, you've never lived an adult life as a normal-sized person. So yes, when you look in the mirror, all you remember, all you've ever seen was that chubby fat face, maybe no neck, no shoulder bones. So when you see these are clavicles, by the way, guys. Clavicles, when you see your clavicles for the first time, you kind of freak out, right? So this is, what happened is it's lifelong. You become accustomed to how you have looked your entire life. Does that make sense? Now that's a very different mindset from this other lady or gentleman who got older later, who got obese later in life, okay? It's easier for them to see the changes. It's easier for them to look back and remember when they were in college and they were thinner and they were more athletic, or remember when before they had their baby or before they had their hysterectomy. It's easier for them to see the transition, okay? Which basically means we need to really work with the headspace. And this is what we're really bad at as surgeons. Isn't that true? I promise you, one psych visit before you have your insurance approve you for weight loss surgery will not fix this. You get that? This psych visit that's required by your insurances to get approved for surgery is friggin' hogwash, man. It's stupid. There's no point to it. They do it because it's a barrier for you to drop out so they don't have to pay for your surgery. Now, they do it under the guise of saying, hey, we want to make sure they don't have an eating disorder. Listen, you're like 150 pounds overweight. You have an eating disorder. You have an eating problem, right? You have an eating problem. You have an issue. Okay? So, if you are type 1 patient, obese since you were young, you need to really start doing the mind work from the beginning. All right? You need to do the mind work. So what I wanted to tell you is tips on what to do. So do the mind work before surgery. Don't wait till afterwards. I mean, start reading this book before surgery. Where's my A to Z book? Read my A to Z book before surgery. This book will change your life, right? Get my courses. Come to my weekend workshops. Follow people. Learn meditation. Learn to goal set. Both of y'all need to do all this mind work before surgery. Amen? Because after surgery, it doesn't work, right? Okay. Number 2, things that you need to do. This really irritates me. When someone says, I did a post earlier about how you can't unstretch your pouch and that this pouch reset is bullshit and it won't work. It won't unstretch your pouch. Some people responded by saying, well, we know it's not going to unstretch your pouch, but you're resetting your mind. We're resetting our mind by going on this liquid diet. I'm like, that's not how you reset your mind, right? You cannot reset your mind by doing 5 days of liquids. In fact, that's a punishment. It does the opposite, because once you go off those liquids, yes, maybe you lose 4 or 5 pounds during the liquid phase, but the second you go off the liquids and go back to your bad behaviors, all that weight plus more comes back, and that just reinforces your belief that you cannot control your obesity. It's not true. So it's not a mind reset. Pouch reset is not a mind reset, okay? A mind reset. Pouch reset is not a mind reset, okay? A mind reset, therefore, the only way to reset your mind is this. And I know y'all hate to hear it, but it's true. You have to learn meditation. You have to learn quiet time. You have to learn to stop the noise and the chatter. Which means you got to turn off television, you got to turn off soap operas, you got to quit listening to your obese friends, you got to quit listening to your broke-ass friends, right? You got to start getting quiet. It's the quiet is how you change your mind. Goal setting. You got to write down your goals, okay? You got to journal. And I know this sounds very boring. Yeah, Dr. Vuong, I know. Well, fucking do it. Getting you to do it is very different, okay? You know it. At some point, I got to get you to do it. Now, how do I get you there? Here's what I want you to do. Y'all liking this? Here's what I want you to do. You need to do the before and after photos. And because you can't see it. And you need the side-by-side comparison. You need to see yourself at 300 pounds and say, holy fuck, I didn't realize I was that big. And yourself at 150 pounds and said, man, I've lost half the person I used to be. Look at me now. Look at this. I'm not where I want to be. Like, it's all good. But what happens is in your brain, you go, I don't want to be obnoxious. Everybody's getting irritated by my posting. Like, forget them. You didn't do this for them. First of all, they don't even think about you that much because they got their own damn problems. Number 2, it's your freaking journey. You deserve it. You've done the hard work. The surgeon's part was not hard. Trust me. It was an hour of my time to do your sleeve. Okay? The before and after photos. So everyone's so resistant when I sit there and say, you got to do a side-by-side photo. But I promise you, that's the best way to see the difference and the change, all right? Now, once you start posting side-by-side photos and you combine that with goal setting and journaling, it always goes this way, right? Journaling, goal setting, and then y'all get to the meditation, right? Because y'all think this is something weird and mysterious, the meditation, but it's not. It's all you're doing is sitting there and focusing on your breathing. You're giving your brain something to do other than run crazy. So all you do is just sit there and focus on your breathing. You'll have thoughts come in and out. You just let them, don't chase them down the next thought. That's all it is. You're not going to be able to shut off your thoughts. So someone just posted in the comments section, I know I tried meditation, but I can't shut off my thoughts. You're not supposed to shut off your thoughts. That's not the point of meditation. See, that just shows me your ignorance. Like, you need to do some research on what meditation really is. That's all. Just like you need to do some research on how to really goal set. Y'all think goal setting is something you do like January 1st. I'm going to lose 50 pounds. I'm going to make $1 million. I'm going to get a promotion. I'm going to get healthy. That's not even a freaking goal. That's not a goal. So all this stuff, there is a way to journal. There are different types of journals. There are different ways to goal set and different types of goal setting, just like there are different types of meditation. But people don't know that. They just assume it's already something mysterious. Or worse, they assume that they already know how to do it, and then they don't research it. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say? And then what happens is they'll say something like, well, I tried to goal set, I tried to journal, it's just too much hard work, I don't have time to journal, I'm writing down my thoughts all the time, like, I know my thoughts. Like, no, you don't. And then you go back into the cycle about, I can't see it, I can't see it, I can't see it. When the real answer is you've never done the work. I hate to tell you all that, man, but this is work. So emotional mind games, let's not get confused by the work. It doesn't stop on its own. You don't get to have surgery and then suddenly all the fucked up thoughts like just stop, right? All the self-doubt, all the insecurities just stop because you lost 100 pounds. No, in fact, they get worse. I'm going to talk about that next. All right. So, sound good? This is why you can't see it. It's been a lifelong way of looking at yourself. And the only way to break it is to start doing the hard work. Okay. Sound cool? What do you think of tip number 1? Screenshot. Wow. All right, you ready, guys? Ready for tip number 2? The number 2, it's not really a tip, it's the number 2 most common emotional mind game that's going to happen. This is a long one. I'm going to break it down for you, but when I tell it to you, you're going to be like, oh, damn, he's so good. All right? All of your relationships will change. Woo! That's a big one. Now, the reason why I picked this one, all of you are like, damn, he's right. Because it encompasses a bunch of your complaints. I promise you. So pay attention. All of your relationships will change. So, your marriage will change. See? People going, my husband's not supporting me. My marriage broke up. Or the opposite. My marriage got stronger. It's because all your relationships will change. All right? So your relationship with your coworkers and your bosses at work will change. People are staring at me. Guys are hitting on me at the lunchroom. My boss asked me for this to apply for this promotion. So your work relationship will change. Or the opposite, you'll be like, this is a shitty ass job. I deserve better than a call center. I deserve better than the way they're treating me. And then you might like quit or get fired. Right? So your relationship with work's going to change, right? Your relationship with family and friends will change. Amen? Listen, like, you're going to wake up one day and you're going to realize, like, your mother-in-law is really a bitch. Like, she's not cool. She's not supporting you. They're the ones who are always trying to feed you. Eat. Is that all you're going to eat? Is that all you're going to eat? That can't be healthy. So you gotta understand that. That's gonna jack with your brain. You have to be able to say, no, I follow this skinny Asian doctor and he told me I'm all right. Right? He told me to drink green smoothies. I can't eat that stuff anymore. I have to nourish my body. See, your family and friends, your bestie might change, because I promise you, birds of a feather, that's right, flock together, don't they? Birds of a feather flock together. So when you were obese, 250, 300 pounds, chances are your best friend was also obese. And if not your best friend, then another best friend. Now listen, birds of a feather flock together. Now watch this. Birds of a feather flock together. So they've done studies that show, there's this saying, you're the average of the 5 people that you hang out with the most. So if they're obese, you're most likely going to be obese. If they're divorced, most likely you're heading for a divorce. If they're living paycheck to paycheck, chances are you're living paycheck to paycheck. So you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. Now check this crazy ass shit out right here. Everyone pay attention to me. They've done studies now which show you become the average of the 5 people you interact with most on Facebook. What? On Facebook. right? So on social media, if you're following someone, if you're friends with someone who's obese on social media, chances are you're going to stay obese. Isn't that crazy? Your associations have got to change. So one day you're gonna, and here's the emotional mind game, you're gonna think, oh my God, my bestie is talking shit behind my back. What's the deal? What happened? We've been through thick and thin. I thought that was my girl. I thought that was my homie. No, they're not, because you've changed. Yeah? Who's experienced that? Somebody watching this has experienced that, and you realize, dude, I can't be around that person anymore. I got to leave them behind. I got to grow up. I got to move on. So your family and friends relationships will change, which also then, because it's 2018, we are so screwed up with social media. Think about that for a second. I want you to go back to your latest Instagram feed, your latest Facebook stuff, and what are you looking at on social media? Is there a bunch of drama, some mama, crazy mama drama, boyfriend drama, blah, blah, blah drama? Like, cut that out. You have to unfriend them. You have to unfriend them. Okay. Which leads to your relationship with yourself. Woo! Someone underline that. Now listen, your relationship with yourself will change. Now some of y'all going, I know, Dr. Vuong, I know. No, you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. Listen to me. I weigh 145 pounds now. I put on 10 pounds working out with Miguel. I used to be 135. Now I'm 145. I'm 5'8", 145. So if you've lost 100, 110, 140 pounds, a high school cheerleader is 110 pounds, approximately. So if you've lost over 100 pounds, you've lost the equivalent of another person. You've literally lost another person. If you've lost 145 pounds, you've lost Dr. V. Like, oh hell, I lost my skinny Asian. Where'd he go? I lost a Dr. V. If you've lost another person, that means what? You can't not be the same person. One more time. If you've lost the equivalent of a person, that means you cannot be the same self. You cannot be the same person. Impossible. Cannot be the same person. Now your head game starts because you're holding on to this. This is your mind game. You're sitting there going, no, I'm the same person. I'm just better. I'm just skinnier. I'm just healthier. That's bullshit. You're a completely different person. Completely different. Yes, you're healthier. Yes, you're skinnier. But you think differently. You see the world differently. You look at a table and say, in a restaurant, you go, I can fit into that booth. I can sit on that chair without it breaking. I can walk that mountain. I can hike that mountain. I can walk that distance. You are interacting with the world on a completely different level than you did before, which then affects your brain, how you interact with the world. But now you're starting thinking, man, if I can do this, what else can I do? And the second you start thinking about that, then the mind games start. The self-doubt starts, right? The mind games, it starts to jack with you, right? Now that goes back to the work. I said number 2, the previous one. You got to get the work in. You got to push yourself. You got to challenge yourself. You got to readdress your friends and family. All right? Now, number 5 is very important. Now stay with me now. Number 5 is very important. Now why is number 5 important? Because it comes directly to self. Now, when you're an obese person for the longest ass time, what did you do for comfort during stressful times? What did you do when you were bored? What did you do during promotions? What did you do during marriages? What did you do during divorces? What did you do during birthdays? What did you do during death days? What did you do? You ate. Yes, a lot of y'all did. So your relationship with food is going to change. See, y'all don't think this. And the surgeons fucking screwed this shit up. Surgeons told patients, you can have whatever you want after surgery, just in small amounts. And you thinking as an obese person going, oh, I get to keep my old favorites. I'm just going to the surgery's going to make me stop eating after a while, or I'll get dumping and that way I won't eat donuts. There are people with a gastric bypass who will eat donuts and run to the bathroom. Right? Because their relationship with food isn't straight. Now, why is this important? Because it is so ingrained to your definition of self. Ooh! Your food is so ingrained with your definition of self. All right? So that means like my old favorites. Everyone loves it when I make this dish during Thanksgiving. Everybody expects me to cook this. When my son comes home from college, they're always asking me, Mom, make tamales or do this dish or that dish. Your identity is so tied into food. And that shit's got to change. And you know it deep down. Deep down, you know your relationship with food was what got you to become obese. Yes? Yes. So at some point, you're going to be like, oh shit, I want to get healthier. But damn, it's my old favorite. I'm from Texas. That's a Texas accent. Right? You go, man, I don't want to give this up. Or what do I do? Because the second you give it up, what have you created? Anyone know? You gave up something. You created a vacuum. That's right, a vacuum. And nature abhors a vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum. So you hate to give up that change. You hate to give up your old favorites. Yes? Now, pay attention. This last one is very important. At some point after weight loss surgery, now a bunch of you are going to comment right now and say, oh, damn, that's me. At some point after you've had weight loss surgery and you have this small ass piece of food, plate of food in front of you, and you have your little protein, you got some couscous, you got the little veggies on there, whatever, right? And you're going to take a bite, you're going to eat it, and you're full. Maybe 3 bites, maybe 5 bites, maybe the entire small plate, it doesn't matter. But let's say you've had 4 bites and you feel full, like you need to stop eating. And you're going to look at your plate and you go, God damn it, I just want to eat more. But you can't. You physically can't. You got me? But in your brain, you're going to look and go, fuck this shit. I want to eat more. That's the emotional mind game, right? Like, I want my baby back. I want my comfort food back. The only way I used to deal with stress was to eat, and now I can't eat. God damn it. Buyer's remorse. I wish I had never had this surgery. I was better off when I was fat. At least people liked me. At least I was the life of the party. At least I could eat my emotions. That's buyer's remorse. That's what leads to weight regain. That's what leads to stalls. Now, somebody just put in the comment section, damn, that's me. There are days when I want to eat more. Okay? And I'm telling you, of you guys watching me right now, you guys know I'm telling you the truth. You will experience a time where you will wish or want to eat more, but you can't. And that shit would jack with your brain. Yes? Got it? All your relationships will change. Not just your marriage, because all of y'all know that. And yes, maybe some of you have thought about work. And yes, some of you are thinking about your family reunion and your friends. And we can't go to the same places. But some of y'all haven't thought about yourself. And you haven't tied it to how you relate to food. And I promise you, 99% of you have never thought about this. Fuck, he's right. I did experience that. I did miss it, right? That's the emotional mind game. Tip number 2, what'd you think? Amazing? Let's go to the top number 1 tip, the number 1 mind game. Woo! You ready for the number 1 mind game? The number 1 emotional mind game? Super important. All right, we've done 3, 2, and now number 1, okay? And at the heart of all of your mind games is this. I'm afraid to regain the weight. Now some of y'all sitting there going, he's a skinny ass Asian. How does he know that? At the root of all your mind games is this fear. It's this fear. Yes? You do not want to go back to your old life. You do not want to go back to 3X shirts. You do not want to go back to a size 26. This is your number 1 fear. And you're thinking, oh my God, am I doing this right? Now here's the problem with this, right? Everyone knows this. Everyone acknowledges this is your number 1 fear. yet they don't do diddly squat about it. They think posting about it on a Facebook group is somehow doing something about it, and it's not. And there are lots of different causes for weight regain, but ultimately it goes back to the last one I talked about. It's your relationship with food, okay? Now let me bring all this together for you with food, because it's always the answer. What's the only answer to why you regain weight? Anyone know? What's the only answer to why you regain weight? What's the only answer why you got obese in the first place? It's the food. It's what you put in your mouth. It's what you ate. That is the only answer. Okay? But no one says this. When I see them or talk to them or they post on Facebook, they never talk about food as their weight regain. They always say, well, I hurt myself so I can't go to the gym. Or I'm traveling now and I can't work out like I used to. Or my mom got sick and I've been in and out of the hospital and there's nothing healthy to eat in the hospital. What? You're blaming your weight regain on your mom? Come on now. Right? The answer is always what? Everybody all at once now. What's the answer to weight regain? What caused it? Answer is always your food. It's what you're eating. You got off track. You quit doing the smoothies. You quit measuring your meals. You quit eating off your small plates. You started grabbing and going. You might have gotten a job promotion and now you're like grabbing and going, driving between appointments and just eating in the car. It's all those old habits. Now pay attention. Why you choose that food is a different question. The answer is food. Now why you choose it is the real issue. Now, when you start worrying about weight regain, it shows up in a couple different ways. Okay? Some people become obsessive, like Dr. V. Unhealthy obsession. Unhealthy. So what happens is then they can't go anywhere. They have to measure the food, they have to weigh their food. And it's fine if it works for them, I don't care. But they become really obsessive, like they're so worried about every single carb, right? I can't have that strawberry because it'll push me over my carb count for the day. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Have the strawberry, it'll be all right. Like negative obsession, measure your food. And so what happens is now you're worried. That's what I mean. It causes worry, concern. You become a little obnoxious. No one wants to hang out with you anymore. Because through your control, your attempts to control this, it actually shows lack of control. So this obsession comes from a fear of control. So this obsession comes from a fear of lack of control. Amen? Anyone know what I'm talking about here? Is anyone going through this right now? Where you're like, you don't want to screw up. I got to weigh everything. I got to measure everything. That's number one. Number two is the other person on the opposite end of the spectrum who says, oh, well, I don't know. This is the I don't know guy who says, oh, well, I don't know. This is the I don't know guy. I don't know. No one told me, but I thought it was good. I thought it was healthy. My surgeon said you can eat whatever you want, just in smaller amounts. I followed my surgeon's guide, their program, the little piddly 10-page guide they gave me, and I don't understand why I'm regaining the weight. Instead of saying, dude, who knows the answers? Find me a skinny-ass Asian. Watch some Dr. V videos, right? So what happens here is this person is, instead of obsessive, they're passive about it. They're passive about it. Now, the second you become passive about it, what happens? This is that fear of failure. I'm no good. I can't control myself. I can't control my obesity. It's too strong for me, etc. Right? Either way, both of these patients come from a position of fear. They fear this. It's often said that there are only two emotions. Pay attention if you've never heard me say this before. There are only two emotions in this world. One is love, and the opposite of love, which is what? It's fear. The opposite of love is fear. It's not hate. Hate comes back to fear. You hate somebody because you fear them, right? So, it's from fear and not love. So the answer to your weight regain is this. And it was one of the choices I gave you. The answer, the solution, has to be self-love. It has to be self-love. You will not regain weight if you love yourself more. Now, some people are going to watch this and be all snarky and try to say stuff like, well, I love my food. No, you don't. You're afraid of your food. You're afraid of yourself. If you had this self-love, you would understand, I need to nourish my body. If you had self-love, you would say, when my mom is sick in the hospital, I need energy, so I'm going to plan my meals. I'm going to bring the salad. When you have that promotion and you have meetings at noon and they bring in junk, you'll say, no, that's okay. I brought in my salad today. I brought in my leftovers from last night. When you have self-love, you get up early on weekends and make the green smoothies, or you get up 10 minutes earlier and make your green smoothies before work. That's self-love. If you have self-love, then you'll cut out the negative people. You'll get rid of your negative best friend. See, some of y'all, we talk about, I'm gonna get rid of my negative friends. What if it's your best friend who's negative? What if it's your mom who's negative? What if it's like your husband who's negative? And you cannot make those tough decisions unless you come from a place of self-love. Does that make sense what I'm saying, y'all? The answer to all your fears about weight regain is this. I want you to work on this. This is the number one thing you need to do. Start taking care of yourself, nourishing yourself. Self-love is like, hey, buy my book. That's like you showing yourself love. You're not lining my pockets, trust me. In fact, someone who says that comes from a place of fear. Like there's a lack. There's plenty of money to go around. Do I deliver good value or not? Are you worth this? Are you worth the weekend course, weekend workshop with me? Are you worth watching me? Are this time you're watching? I'm going to tell you, when you sit around and watch a bunch of television, Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, The Bachelor, that's lack of self-love. But you're confused and you think, oh, I'm treating myself because I've had a hard week. No, you're not. You're avoiding the things you need to do, which is fear. If you loved yourself, you would do the things you needed to do. You would write your book. You would, hire the attorney to start the divorce proceedings. You would study for the exam. So you would apply for the admissions. That's self-love, y'all. When your dreams and goals for your life get so big that the weight regain doesn't matter. Weight's not an issue. That's the reason why weight's not an issue for me. My dreams and goals for my life are so much bigger, right, than my obesity, than my weight. And I know because my dreams are big, because I want to do so much and help so many people, I need to stay healthy. It's not even an issue. That's why I can pass up donuts, because my dreams and goals are so big, because I value myself. I love myself so much. Does that make sense, y'all? This is the major number one mind screw for all of you, and it ties back to everything. Your fear of weight regain is why you don't leave the marriage, why you do leave the marriage, why you won't go for the promotion. It's all of it. Why you won't leave your obese group of friends, why you won't move from your little town. Does that make sense? And that's it. Now listen, pay attention. At the end of the day, you're going to die. We only have one life to live. All of us. We only have one life to live. There is no curtain call. There is no practice run through life. You don't get a do-over. So you might as well start living now. You might as well start making impact now. You need to see, if that's true, you only have one life to live, then why not do the most with it that you can? Why not be the best you can? Why not be the skinniest you can? Why not be the healthiest you can? Why not make as much money as you can? Why not help as many people as you can? Why not sell as many books as you can? Do it all. Why not? Because the last thing you want is at the end of your days when you're dying, and if you're lucky, you get to think about it, because not everyone gets to think about it on their death day. Do not, on your death day, have regrets and say, I wish I had lived my life differently. Don't do that, okay? I love y'all very much. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you had a great time and learned something and found value of this. I hope to meet you someday. Come, hug me, take a picture with me. Let me know that what I'm doing matters, because I matter, because you matter, because you're watching, right? Love y'all very much. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.